This is my Prism model video for Dr. Landry's class. My name is Ariana Sapp, and this will be in replacement of doing an in-class presentation to the cohort. So what I chose to do for the Prism model representation, I took it rather literally and I made it into a pyramid. I chose to do so because though I do find this method to be creative, I want it to be very clear when looking at it. And since I work with middle schoolers, I often find that the simpler the better. And the simpler the diagram that I choose, the more likely they'll be focused on what it is that we're speaking about. If I had more access to resources in the time that was given to us, I perhaps would have built this myself, but I thought that the 3D model was sufficient, and it gave me more of an opportunity to talk about the layers of the Prism model rather than the way I went about creating it. So this is what the model looked like in my essay. So it's literally a pyramid, and it's layered, it's tiered per content area that we talked about for Thomas and Collier. However, one of the things I want to emphasize before I get started on my explanation is I do not believe that this pyramid has to remain in this order. The article indicates that each of these layers has an interconnectedness that is important to discuss, and that you cannot have one level without having the others. And one of the things that I referenced in my essay was that this reminds me a lot of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where you build on students' needs in order to reach a self-fulfilling level. So therefore I paralleled that with this model, and so I guess my model really came from Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That was the first thing I thought of when we were asked to build this model, and when I was studying psychology it was a very easy way for me to understand Maslow's hierarchy, so I decided to construct my own pyramid based on an order that I felt I could teach well and I could understand well. So in the reading by Thomas and Collier, it's difficult to see the words on here, so I'll just discuss them myself. This is my base point, so this is where I want to start in accordance with my BLE instruction, and this is the same thing that they indicated that is the heart of BLE instruction, and that is social and cultural processes. The reason I put that at the bottom is that all students have these no matter what, and they all have varying levels of them, varying experiences with them, but I chose to put that at the foundation because that's something that we can all start with as equals. And even if we don't have an equal social or cultural experience, we all have them to a certain degree, so we can empathize with each other a little bit more when it comes to BLE learning. So bringing that to the table I think is crucial before we start moving into the other layers of the pyramid that I constructed. So above social and cultural processes, which are my foundation and Thomas and Collier reference as the heart of BLE instruction, I have cognitive development. Now, I chose to put that next because though there are cognitive delays that students can experience, I still believe that there's a foundation there that is shared between all students and can be understood by all students. And I think that the cognitive development builds pretty directly on social and cultural development. So I think that the connection between the two of them, for me, was easy to put side by side. And then on top of that, I had language development. Again, those seemed very, very interconnected for me, cognitive development and language development. So I wanted them to be close together, and if I could have, I think I would have put them on the same platform instead of on separate platforms, because I do think they coincide so much. And then on top of that, I've got academic development. So to recap, the order I chose was social and cultural, cognitive, language development, and then academic development, and then at the top tier I put BLE success, which I added in myself. And the reason I put academic development at the top was I figured that was kind of an encompassment of a lot of the other variables. I know that we have students that don't have academic development. They either haven't been in public schools or they haven't been in a system of consistency and constant demand and expectations. So I know that that's not necessarily an umbrella category, but I do think that you can dissect the academic development category into the ones that we've already talked about. So for me, that was kind of like the last stepping stone, is this up here is comprised of all of the things below it. And to wrap up with my final point, again, I want to say that I don't believe it has to be in this order, and I already kind of disproved my own point where I would have put cognitive and language development on the same level. And this was just a manner that I thought made sense for portraying the model. And I think if I were to present this to students in my classroom, they would understand it pretty well. And I think if I were to have done this in class with the cohort, it would have also been very straightforward, which is how I wanted the model to look. So, thank you.